Well, hello there, YouTube. It's Ro here. Thank you for visiting You Grow Ro. If this is your first time here, I hope you'll consider subscribing at the end of this video. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you. Today, I'm going to discuss gardening no-nos that you should totally try in just a moment. Today, I'm revealing 6 common gardening rules that I knowingly break in my backyard garden, and I still get plenty of production. Mulch, crop rotation, early watering. Pfft, let me explain. Rule number 1, mulch is magic. Traditional wisdom says that you need to mulch everything for moisture and weed control. Because without mulch, your soil can dry out more quickly. And on the pest side of things, not mulching can also make your garden more appealing to certain pests. Because mulch creates a habitat that can deter some pests by providing them with shelter or making it harder for them to access your plants. Without it, uninvited critters like slugs and aphids can be more of a problem. Plus, without that layer of mulch, weeds can thrive, and more weeds can lead to more pests making their home in your garden. Well, guess what? I don't mulch. I tried it. Wasn't for me. I didn't care for moving the mulch around every time I wanted to drop a seed. I also didn't care for the pests that I found hiding within that mulch. So things like the beetles and grasshoppers, I didn't care for seeing them. To me, it felt like a needless cost. Now, to be clear, I garden in raised beds. In the beginning, all of my soil was store-bought. Since then, I've had a soil drop, and then everything else I've created on my own through composting. As for the aphid control, I tend to use trap crops, and that works well for me. And in regards to the moisture control, maybe that's a slight problem at the beginning of the season, in the spring, if it's not especially rainy, but that problem doesn't last for very long because I practice what's called high density planting, meaning I cram more plants into a smaller space to maximize my garden's productivity. Once all those plants start filling out, my soil doesn't see the light of day, thereby replacing my need for mulch. So yeah, I don't mulch, and that's okay. It's also okay if you do mulch and you swear by it. But this is a video about the rebel gardener in me. And I say mulch can go pound sand, at least in my backyard garden. Listen, mulch isn't magic. It's more like seasoning. You just have to use it with intention. Rule number 2, give your plants room to grow. So traditional wisdom says don't crowd your plants. When you cram them all together, they end up competing for things like sunlight and water and nutrients. It's like a crowded party where everyone's trying to get to the snacks and chaos ensues. Also, crowded plants can create a damp environment since the air circulation gets a little stifled. And guess what? That can lead to issues like mold or fungus showing up. Plus, pests can have a field day if the plants are all jammed together, making it easier for them to spread. However, as I stated in rule number 1, I practice high-density planting. And high-density planting works because it's all about maximizing your garden space and getting the most bang for your buck, basically. When you pack in those plants, they can actually make better use of the available sunlight, soil, and nutrients and water because you're creating a mini ecosystem. Plus, when plants grow close together, the leaves can create shade, which helps keep the soil cooler and moist, perfect for keeping weeds at bay. It also means less surface area for pests to attack since they're all snug together. And let's not forget about the vibe, right? I mean, when plants are growing side by side, they can help support each other and create a thriving environment. You just got to keep an eye on the watering and nutrients because they'll be fighting for those a bit more. But I handled that just fine. Rule number 3, rotate your crops. Traditional wisdom says you need to move your crops every year. Rotating your crops each year is like giving your soil a mini vacation. When you plant the same crops in the same spot year after year, it can lead to soil nutrient depletion and create a perfect setup for pests and diseases that love those particular plants. It's like having a favorite snack every day. Eventually, you might get tired of it, or worse, find it doesn't sit well with you anymore. So by mixing things up, you're allowing the soil to replenish nutrients naturally. Different plants have different nutrient needs, so rotating crops helps balance things out. Plus, many crops can fend off certain pests that affect others, making your garden a bit more resilient overall. So crop rotation is a good gardening strategy, I'll say that. But then why don't I use it? Because in small gardens such as mine, rotation isn't always feasible. I prefer to focus on soil health, and I do that by composting in place. I add soil amendments such as worm castings and blood meal or bone meal. So instead of rotating my beds, I rotate my attitude. Flexibility wins. Rule number 4, water early in the morning. Traditional wisdom says that morning watering avoids disease. It's pretty much like giving your plants a refreshing wake-up call. At that time, the temps are a little cooler, so less water evaporates before it even gets to the roots. It's kind of a win-win. Plus, watering in the morning allows the plants to soak up all that good stuff throughout the day, helping them deal with the heat as the sun cranks up. If you water later in the day, especially in the evening, you're risking making your plants a cozy home for mold and mildew, since the leaves might stay damp overnight. But for me, sometimes I water in the evening, sometimes I water in the afternoon, and my plants are still kicking. I tend to think that by watering later in the day, after the sun has gone down, of course, my plants have all night and all morning to soak up all that good water. So, watering rules? I follow the clouds, not the clock. Rule number 5, till the soil. Traditional wisdom says tilling prepares the bed, and gardeners till their soil to break it up and make it more fluffy, which helps with drainage and aeration, which is super important for healthy roots. And when you till, you're mixing in organic matter like compost too, which boosts the nutrients in the soil. Plus, it helps get rid of pesky weeds and old plant debris, making way for your new plant babies. It's kind of like getting a fresh start for your garden season. But I prefer a no-dig method. It saves time and build up soil microbes. It lets you build up your soil layers right on top. So instead of turning everything over, you just pile on organic matter like compost directly onto the ground. This way, I'm preserving all those beneficial organisms in the soil, helping to keep it healthy and rich. Plus, it helps maintain the soil structure so it stays airy and allows the roots to spread out freely. And let's face it, who doesn't love less back-breaking work? With no dig, you're also cutting down on weeds since you're not disturbing the soil where their seeds might be hiding. So it's more of a chill way to garden. It lets nature do its thing while I sit back and watch my plants thrive. Rule number 6, follow seed packet instructions. Traditional wisdom says stick to spacing, timing, and depth. But I say seed packets are guidelines, not commandments. Seed packets are more like friendly suggestions than strict rules. Think of them as a rough roadmap to get you started on your gardening journey. You're the one behind the wheel, and every garden is different. What works perfectly in one spot might not fly in another due to variables like soil type, weather, and even local pests. So while the packet might say plant 1 inch deep or water once a week, you might find that your soil likes to stay more moist or that your climate is a bit hotter. So you need to adjust accordingly. Plus, let's not forget that gardening is often an experiment. Sometimes you'll discover amazing tricks that work for you, like planting seeds a little deeper or a little shallower, or even trying out companion plants that the packet doesn't mention. It's all about what feels right for your particular garden, your style, and your plants. So don't stress too much if you stray from the instructions. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I trust my garden journal more than I trust those seed packets. And there you have it, 6 so-called rules that I happily break in my garden with a wink and a watering can. Gardening isn't about perfection, it's about paying attention. If you've got a rebel gardening move of your own, drop it into the comments for me. Like, subscribe, and share with a friend who still believes that mulch is magic. Until next time, grow wild, my friends. Grow wild.